Says I'm live. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, cool. Yeah, nobody's in here yet. I'm gonna turn this volume. Down, notifications down, and ringer down. Let's see. 2 minutes. I guess sometimes it takes longer. I think. Just roll. Welcome, robots. Nobody's in the chat. No. Chat filter, all messages, nothing. Oh well. Just watch me work. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Fun as in not fun. I had a feeling that was going to drop. Yeah. Firewood, welcome. Alright. Entertaining. Take me a little water break, see what we got here. Welcome. Wayne, message retracted. Hacksaw Jim Dugan. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, I'm just splitting wood. Got a little bit of wood here going on. Actually, I need to change something here. There we go. You can see I got a little bit of wood pile going on here. We had tornadoes in the area last week. Actually, week before last now. So, uprooted a whole bunch of trees, and I thought I was all done with my log splitting for the season, and all of a sudden I got to pull out my chainsaw and start cutting and hauling and bucking and splitting. But I'll have enough wood to last me probably at least 3 winters. That's how I heat my house, with a wood burning stove. I live just south of Lake Michigan, Indiana, and we get these northern winds that come through. Right now, like this morning, we've had really fluctuating temperatures since last night. Got down to 50 last night, woke up, it was 63. Then it went down to 50, then it went back up to 60, and then it went down to 50s again. It's been going up and down, but it's actually getting ready to drop down to into the 30s, which is 2 to 3 degrees Celsius. But then we have 30-mile-an-hour winds coming this afternoon, which is going to bring the wind chill down even colder. I need to drink more water. I'm starting to get a little bit of a dehydration headache, even though I've been drinking water like crazy. I already got 3/4 of a gallon in me this morning. My son brought his truck. He's over there working on the welding his truck up. Old 1999 Chevy Silverado. He just found a crack in the frame that he's got to shore up before he gets that thing back on the road. That's what happens though. We get these winters, they spray a sodium chloride on the roads to keep the ice down, and all that sodium chloride really does accelerate rust on vehicles and corrosion. I wonder, can you see that log? Not really, it's kind of hidden by the chat. I go trying to think. Okay, so that one's that. You can't see none of those logs, huh? Okay, so let's see. I got a bunch of logs lined up. I guess. So you point to that one, and all the way over there. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Now that one. Yeah. I'm pointing to that one, but it's kind of weird. The lenses on these cameras aren't right. They don't give you an accurate picture of what you're seeing. Maybe you're not really seeing the image of an old man. Maybe you're seeing the image of a young guy, and the camera's making me look older. It's a possibility. I don't know why. Yeah, we'll see. Says I'm live on YouTube. Mark is red. Okay, I marked as red. What the heck? Hey, welcome. So this was like 31 people in here, which I highly doubt because nobody's talking. I think the numbers are wrong. I think YouTube's, well, I know YouTube doesn't give you accurate numbers, but I don't know what's up with that. And if I go to all messages, it shows a, that's weird. Okay, yeah, it doesn't show Wayne retracted his message. Yeah, and Wayne looks like another bot channel. Hey, what's going on, Alabama? Welcome. Welcome, Jody. I'm just doing some log splitting. Got a little live stream going here, just kind of see who comes in. YouTube's got some really weird algorithms. Nobody's got it figured out. Anyone that says they do is lying because they don't have a rhyme or reason. It's all random shit. How are you doing, Jody? Oh, looks like you got a regular channel with content. Wait, is it? No, you just got a playlist, that's all. I just looking at your channel, look to see who comes in. I don't know if you know this or not, but when you're going to YouTube Lives, you do have to set the chat filter to all messages if you want to see all messages, because YouTube deletes, or I should say hides, messages under top messages. 72 degrees down there, eh? Yeah, it's about 45 now here, and it's dropping down into the 30s, and we got winds coming in. It's gonna be pretty windy here pretty soon. But yeah. Yeah, it was I live up by Lake Michigan, in Indiana, and we're getting north winds right now coming in off the lake, and that water temperature is like in the 40s, so that north wind is blowing cold and strong, and it's going to get stronger. We get a lot more vast weather temperature fluctuations here in what they call the Midwest, and I never understood it, dude. I'm pretty much east of the middle of the country. Why they call it the Midwest? They should just call it the mid. Why Midwest? We're in the mid part of the country. In fact, most Midwestern states are east of the middle of the country. That doesn't make any sense. Ohio, Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota's getting close to the middle of the country. But if it's Midwest, it should be the middle of the state and western half of the country is what I would think. I just go by what words mean, and it don't seem right. Yeah, short sleeve shirt in the 40s. Yes, sir, and in the cold wind in the 40s. It motivates me to get my body moving so I can start getting some warmth up. I've been sitting too long. I got to work, man. fun stuff here. What do we got? Yep. All-nighter. Going through those knots are fun. Hey, it's all part of the game. All part of the job. There went one. Yeah, welcome. About how many cord of wood do you burn a year? Well, when I had a wife, I burned about 12 full cord a year, which is 36 face cord. Because I wanted to keep the house real nice and toasty warm for her, make it comfortable, you know. But since she left and I live alone, I don't need it to be 75 degrees in the house all year long. And so I let it get down to maybe in the 50s in the winter in bedrooms, which is fine sleeping weather for me. But I go through about 7, so it's almost half of what I was going through. Why don't you use gasoline or electric splitter? Oh, it keeps me going, man. You know, it's good exercise. It keeps the body going. My job is challenging in the summertime, spring, summer, and fall, but in the winter it slows down. So I prefer to do most of my cutting and splitting in the wintertime. Um, it just slows real down. I clean windows for a living, and so window cleaning almost grinds to a halt in the extreme cold weather. And so I get out there with the chainsaw and I cut. But we just had tornadoes here. Right after I got all my wood split. Let me see what my, yeah, we're looking good. Let's see here. This is just what I cut this last week. This is one of the two big piles I got. And this is what I had cut and split this winter for next year. That's one of the piles. And I got another one over here, and that's about 37 to 40 feet long of wood pile, and it's about 4 foot tall, you know, and I don't know, maybe 12 foot wide or something. But so I got two piles there, which is more than enough for my next winter. And then I still got a pile over here. The cameras make it look small from far away. But you get up close, and it's probably about 1.5 cords of wood left in here, which is more than I'll use for the rest of the season. You know, but I got a pile of wood under the tarp here. And then I got another pile of wood over here, actually 3 piles of wood. Yeah, here's one that's already split, I've been working on. There's another pile of logs that need to be split. I quarter them out when I carry them. Some big rounds I like to quarter out, you know, and so I got to split all that. This is going to be one of the next projects here. So I got a pile there, and all that. So I figure I probably got about enough for three years of wood. That's what I'm figuring. Are you splitting wood for yourself? Yeah, I don't sell firewood. It doesn't seem to bring in much of a value to it, worth my time around here. One face cord is about $75, and when you figure what you got to run the saw, and I use professional steel chainsaws. I got like a 441 and a 462 and a 660. And you know, they're not cheap saws, and you run them down, wear and tear. You got to keep you know, the gasoline, the oil, the travel, hauling them, then bringing them back, splitting them, letting them season. You got areas on the land that's taking up space, and then to sell, you know, you're not making much money at all for $75 a face cord. Thanks. I wish it was more. I've only got just less than 2 acres that I live on. And I had 18 mature oaks die this year. And then after I got done taking care of all that and getting rid of the branches and all that, then we had a F4 tornado come through and just wreak havoc and devastation all over the town. And so that's pretty much what I've been doing here the last week and a half, is running the chainsaw, helping people clear their yards and property, and harvesting some wood. You know, it's like, well, if I don't harvest it, FEMA's going to come by and pick it up with their contractors, and they're going to burn it. They don't want people harvesting it. If you're volunteering through FEMA, they will not allow the volunteers to take any firewood. And in doing so, they've actually alienated all the professional chainsaw guys that would do it just to help out and collect the wood in return. You know, they're not making money. They're not making a profit by taking the lumber or taking the firewood. They're just helping get rid of it and saving taxpayers money. But FEMA don't want that. FEMA wants to spend more taxpayers money, hire contractors, take all this green wood and burn it out in the open, so they puff carbon emission pillars of smoke through the atmosphere, and then they tell you that you got to have a fucking oxygen sensor on your fucking exhaust, and if your catalytic converter says your emissions aren't right, you got to pay, you know, somewhere between $2 and $6 grand to get your fucking car right. We're living in a very wicked and evil, tyrannical governmental system is what we're living in, and it's really coming down to what the Bible says is going to happen. But I usually don't get a lot of wood from my own property just because I don't have a lot of property. It's less than 2 acres. I pretty much have a house, a front yard, a backyard, and 2 side lots of woods that, doesn't, my wooded area is only about an acre. I think. Maybe, yeah, it's probably about an acre, maybe a little less. Awesome job, dude. Well, thanks, Jody. I'm sure you're in excellent shape as well, if you don't mind. How old are you? 55, man. No, I don't mind. 55 years old. I started splitting wood. I grew up in the city. I didn't grow up in the country. I live in the country now. I love it. But I remember I was hitchhiking through the country and I found myself in this place in Tennessee and they put me to work. And I was like, cool. The guy gave me a splitting maul. I was like, I think I was 18 at the time. Might have been 17. But he put a splitting maul in my hands for the first time. Didn't show me how to use it. He just showed me a pile of logs and gave me a splitting maul and said, here, split wood. So I was like, all right. So I just began swinging. I learned how to do it on my own. I wish I would have learned the right way ahead of time. I wish somebody would show me because you can really damage the tendons and the ligaments in your hand if you're holding the maul wrong when it lands on the maul on the wood. But same thing working out. I've always been into weight training and strength, mostly functional movements and strength training. And for the first probably 10 years I was working out, I didn't know proper body mechanics and form. I was just doing, bro science, what I saw the bros do. We used to gather and work out in somebody's basement, work out in somebody's garage. I've always had a home gym, you know. And then I found out about Athlean X. Jeff Cavalier from Athlean X is one that really kind of put things into perspective, helped me understand biomechanics and proper functional use of your joints and the proper ways to lift weights, dude. And if you do it wrong, you're going to get pains in your. And if you follow what most guys do, you're going to have torn rotator cuffs, you're going to get hernias, you're going to have all kinds of problems. And I started exhibiting some of those problems. In fact, I think I got thankfully it's not a major tear, but a tear nonetheless in my left rotator. It doesn't stop me from doing much of anything. But yeah, anyway, splitting wood, I started splitting and in 1999, in my first house, I put a wood burning stove before the Y2K bullshit came along. At the time, I didn't know what a psychological operation was. I actually kind of fell privy to succumb to the deceptions that they were doing, putting everybody on the digital grid for this final surveillance and control system. It has to be digital, it can't be analog. So I got everybody through the Y2K bullshit back onto digital so that they can have all these data centers pop up and have everybody's frickin' profiles under complete control. I used to chop wood for myself. Yeah, cool. I am a retired butcher, so I know what you mean about hands. Mine are fried. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm a bow hunter. I didn't learn that growing up either. I learned that as an adult. I picked up a bow and arrow. But I do all my own processing of my deer. I debone everything though. I know when you're butchering like cows and pigs and chickens, you leave the bones in, but I debone it all. I started off going for, if it's brown, it's down. I took, my first deer was a fawn. Second deer was a yearling buck. Then I decided I want to go after mature bucks, and there's a lot of learning involved in that curve, and that was fine. I learned how to find a buck, choose a buck, hunt that particular buck, and kill it, and it was rewarding, except the problem was the meat sucks. And I got thinking about it, every single young deer I ever ate tasted great. All the old ones taste like shit. So I reverted back to if it's brown and it's under 2 years old, it goes down. So I like to eat good food. I don't, the rack doesn't mean anything to me. The trophies don't. I got 5 record book bucks. Not like world time, all time record, but like the Pope and Young. is one of the record books where you have to score. I think if I remember correctly, it's a 125 inch on the rack or something, and I got 5 over 125. The biggest one I got was it scored out at 153, which is pretty sizable for this area, you know. But I got them from the 120s through 30s and 40s, and you know, I got the biggest one was in the 50s. That was it. But every single one of those deer, they tasted like fucking nasty shit, dude. I just couldn't stand it. Got 2 torn rotator cuffs. Do you suggest I get them fixed, dude? Um, Here's what I have done, and I think it's helped me a lot. I actually gave. I was in contact with the leading statistician for Northwestern University in Chicago, and she knew, because she's the leading statistician, that she can't trust the statistics for her own field. And she actually wanted my advice because I had actually done some major healing on some tendons and ligaments that I had damaged from a bad wreck um, outside. Never went to surgery, and she knew the surgeries are not, you know, they're not good. Although they're getting better with some of them, I'm seeing a lot of people that are, you know, getting results. But um, I definitely, if nothing's separated, I don't recommend surgery at all. If it's just torn, I would personally fill up my microbiome. Yogurt, make your own fermented yogurt, make your own fermented sauerkraut is really good for probiotics, and it helps with your digestion to be able to deliver the right nutrients to the parts of your body that need it. Um, Sauerkraut, I make my own apple cider vinegar. I love using that stuff. It's very beneficial, and it's very tart, very acidic. But if you use apple cider vinegar, rinse your mouth out with baking soda water. Just rinse it and spit it, because it'll neutralize the acetic acid that corrodes the enamel on your teeth. Ask me how I know. All the information I was looking up about apple cider vinegar and fermented foods, not one place did I ever see somebody warn about neutralizing the acid in your mouth after you consume it, because it will destroy the enamel of your teeth. And so, whenever I tell people, I try to remember to tell them neutralize the acids with baking soda. It's sodium bicarbonate and water. Mix it up, put it in your mouth, switch it around, spit it out. And the reason I say spit it out is because it is an antacid. It will neutralize the acids, and you need acids inside of your body, you know, in your gut. You need acids. So if you got acid reflux, you know, heartburn, a shot of apple cider vinegar, and it will neutralize, or it will balance the acids in your gut and calm down the acid reflux. It's pretty amazing stuff. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it works. So anyway, after you build your digestion up with all sorts of good living bacteria, then you want to get bromelain and papain enzymes inside your system to help heal the tendons. There's not a lot of blood circulation in those areas, and so you need to get the right nutrients that will go through those little tiny capillaries that deliver the nutrients to the tendons. And bromelain and papain are very good. You find it in bromelain is found in pineapple and mango, and papain is found in papaya and pawpaw fruit. And I think you got pawpaw fruit down your way. But yeah, I'll leave this up so you can go back to it or something if you want, or do a screen recording of what I said. If you know how to do that, you can go back and screen record it. You know, that's it helps. It helped me. I was back out on. I fell off. My ladder came out from underneath me. I was cleaning gutters, and my knee landed on an air conditioning from 2 stories up, and I cracked my patella, tore my quadricep tendon, peeled my meniscus off the bone, broke 2 ribs, and I was tore up from the floor up. I still worked for 9.5 hours that day. I used um, the the shock that comes over you. And I also took an all-day leave to get rid of the inflammation temporarily so that I could make it through the day, because I had a lot of work. And then after that, I was done for about 6 weeks. I had to be laid up, and I learned about vitamin C is very beneficial. If you can max dose your vitamin C, depending on the person's body, it could be between 3,000 and 7,000 or 8,000 milligrams a day. But it will replenish every single cell in your body if you max dose it for 30 days. You know, that's going to be a benefit. Linus Pauling, the Dr. Linus Pauling was a Nobel Prize winner. If I remember correctly, it was 1979 for discovering the benefits of max dosing vitamin C. You know, if you got, and then also get omega-3 and omega-6 balances. I use chia seeds. That seems to be a pretty good thing. I put it in my yogurts. I put it in my, sometimes my coffee, um, oatmeal, different things. But chia seeds have both omega-6 and 3 uh, omega-6s and omega-3s. And that's really important for the replenishing of connective tissue. God really did design our bodies to self-repair. As long as we get the right foods and the right nutrients in our body, we can repair our bodies of a lot of things. There are some things that you need surgical intervention for, you know, but I really don't like the way the direction allopathic medical industry has gone. You know, it's become a form of, you know, tyrannical fucking toxic and invasive surgeries, toxic chemicals, and doctors are trained more in chemistry and pharmacology than they are in nutrition and health. But they call it healthcare, but it's not healthcare. I came out of medical um, misinformation prison on YouTube for talking about some of this stuff, and to me it's like, man, I want to help people. You know, I want to help people. That's, you know, it's, if I can help people remove themselves from the dependence on the draconian fucking wicked tyrannical system, then, you know, and get people better, then more power to it. If I got to suffer for 3 months with not being have, you know, they might shut my YouTube channel down and I start talking about things like this because it's injurious financially to the industry. And make no mistake about it, the healthcare industry is a profit driven industry. And if natural foods and remedies and medicines that work, they can't get a patent on, and they can't monopolize that remedy, then, you know, they teach their students that it's quackery. And the doctors invest 750 grand into their medical career, not because they care about people, because they're looking for a very uh, comfortable life. For the love of money is the root of all evil. And nobody's saying nothing, and I'm starting to get a little bit of a chill because it's getting breezy. So I'm going to get back to work. Oh boy, don't do that one. That's fun. Okay, I might have to move this thing a little bit. I knew it was gonna fall. It fell. I don't know. I don't know what we got here. There's a tree. Yeah, over there. All right, somebody says something. It's always been all about money. The love of money is the root of all evil, man. It really is. right. There went my coffee. It'll get to warm up in this brisk wind. What do I got here? Says 12 bots are in here. "12 profiles." But I know what they mean. Yeah, I still got some coffee left. Yeah, I'm working on that pile. It's coming along little by little. You can move a mountain with a shovel. Just one shovel at a time. That's what they say. I know if you do nothing, you don't get anywhere. Do something, you'll get somewhere. Chiseled away at this one here. Yeah, chiseled away pieces of this one, but knotty oak is not always the easiest thing to split. Got another branch over there. Yeah, it's fun stuff. Just keeps the blood pumping. You got to split wood if you want it to season out. I find a lot of people don't really know what the difference is between summer wood and spring wood and why you have to split the wood for it to season. I might make a shorts video about it. Or I might not. Or I might not. When you look at the wood grain, you can see distinct lines, and there's two different colors. These are tight grain. Let me see if I can find a wider grain one. Really is kind of tight. Let's see if I can't get this thing to focus here. So the wood grows in two growing seasons here: spring wood growth and summer wood growth. And the spring wood growth is usually wider and lighter in color because you get a lot more water with the groundwater for thawing out and rains coming, spring rains, and they grow quick. And so you got that lighter wood, which is usually the lighter rings, and then you have the darker rings, which are a very slow growth, and it's a much harder layer of wood. And the dark rings trap the moisture in, so when the log is circular, all that moisture is trapped inside by the summer growth rings, and it has nowhere to evaporate to or to escape to. And so if you don't split the logs, that moisture will eventually rot the wood. You'll get all sorts of different kinds of mold and fungus that'll get up in there and eat away at the wood with the moisture. They like the moisture. Um, so I remember I had one guy, a neighbor, had a huge round log that he didn't cut up or split. He let sit for, he said 5 years. I think it was longer. And he thought it was seasoned. And I'm like, dude, that ain't seasoned. You gotta, it had bark on it too. As long as the bark stays on the wood, the wood's not gonna season if it's not split. And he cut through it and found out it was all rotten and dirt inside. And he was pissed because he spent the money and went and picked it up with his tractor and his trailer, and he had this big log. He was thinking about doing boards with it or something, turning it to lumber. And this oak wood, preferably seasoned for 2 years in order for it to burn good. But I mean, burn if as efficient and give you as many BTUs as you can get out of it. But it'll burn fine and fairly clean after 1 year seasoning, and that's usually what I do. But now with all the wood I got this year, it's ridiculous. But I'm working through this pile pretty good, a lot quicker than I thought I would. I think I'm going to be about done here soon. Do like me some coffee and water. Try it. might need the wedge. Yeah. That'll be my favorite one. This one's got any problems I can see. Yep. Oh, I'm getting cracks. This is where a hydraulic splitter helps with big ass knots. Oh, and inside the garage. Yeah, nobody else is coming in saying nothing. Just watching me work, or bots or something. Who knows? I'm gonna cut the stream off, I guess. Do another chat filter reset. See if I'm missing anything. Nope. Well, you guys have a good one.